we do, I would just like to remind everyone that in order to help us have a welcoming, respectful, and productive meeting, we're going to begin with a few shared norms, as we always do. We want to understand who is participating in the discussion, so please display your first and last name if you're joining remotely. And whenever you do speak, whether remotely or in person, please begin by stating your name and where you live. We want everyone who wishes to speak to have the opportunity, so please keep your comments to about 3 minutes and focus on remarks that are on the agenda item under discussion. We want our dialogue to remain respectful and constructive, so please focus your comments on policies, decisions, and ideas rather than on individuals, and keep your thoughts about someone's character or intent either to yourself or for some other forum. We want the meeting to remain organized and accessible to all, so speakers will be recognized by the mayor before speaking, and if you have several questions, please ask them all together. And finally, we want the council to be able to complete the public's business in an orderly way, so the rules of procedure in the agenda packet and as generally available will guide our meeting and may be applied as needed to keep the meeting moving and ensure everyone has a fair opportunity to participate. Thank you, everybody, for helping us create a meeting where everyone can be heard and the community's business can be conducted respectfully and effectively. And with that, if there are no objections, we will approve the agenda. Seeing no objections, we're going to take that as unanimous consent. Moving forward, general businesses and appearances. At this time, we will take comments from any member of the public who wishes to speak. Before we go to you, Councillor Sheridan, is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak? I can't necessarily see that.
Yeah, Peter Hellman, if you'd like to come up.
Mr. Kelman.
Thank you. Peter Kelman, Mountain View Street, Montpelier. For the past almost 10 years, I've come before the City Council on a number of occasions and communicated with them. I've had 4 main themes to my concerns that I've expressed: housing, homelessness, and good government, by which I mean transparent, inclusive, and engaging. So I would I sent you all an email earlier this week. I'm not going to repeat it, but I'm going to say about today that if you are fully comfortable with your decision to approve the current contract with White and Burke and White, can never get it straight, then you should be willing to explain your rationale in a way that the public can understand why you are approving this contract as is. If you're fully comfortable with the process that led to this approval, you should be similarly willing to explain that after you come out of executive session, why this meeting was needed, or you felt this meeting was needed after having apparently approved the contract back in October. If you are not fully comfortable either with your decision or the process that necessitated this meeting, I would hope that you would be willing and able to explain to the public those aspects that you are not comfortable with. One of the hardest things to do as a human being is to admit that one has made errors. It is also one of the greatest things that a person can do. Now, not all the people who were involved in this process are here in government anymore, so that makes it a little more difficult. But I think getting to the bottom of why this has been such a difficult process is something that would be important in order to be able to move forward and not make the same kinds of errors again. I'm not saying that people should be blamed, but I think that we need to look at what happened. Thank you. Steve Whitaker.
You are muted, Mark.
Muted.
You are muted. We cannot hear you.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Kelman, for your comments. We did receive them in written form, and we do appreciate that feedback. I would agree I know I don't have to go back and forth, but I would agree that if we feel comfortable with our decisions, we should feel comfortable standing in the daylight and explaining how we came to those decisions. Is anyone else in the room raising their hand to speak?
Mr. Whitaker is here. I might advise the council members on Zoom will see you better if you stand at the podium, if that's for you.
Oh, they can't see me here?
No.
They
Mr.
can't.
Whitaker, we recognize you.
Use the podium.
Yeah, Steve Whitaker from Montpelier. I want to note for the record that one of the key problems with the October action, which is being addressed today, is participation and transparency, and conducting a so-called ratification meeting with little to no notice to correct it is somewhat farcical. I'm the plaintiff in Whitaker v. Montpelier, docket 25 CVO 4605, pending before Judge Spiro in Washington County Superior Court. A preliminary injunction hearing is scheduled for this Friday. I think it's somewhat cynical to attempt to get ahead of or subvert that meeting with this kind of action, especially without informing the public of what went wrong in October and what you're trying to do about it today. I want to note for the council's awareness that section 314 paren B paren 4 of the open meeting law provides that ratification as a cure for an open meeting law violation requires prior acknowledgement of the violation under 314 paren B paren 2. Yet the city denied the October 8th violation at the October 20th meeting held to cure that violation. No acknowledgement has occurred. I raise this publicly so that the council has complete information before it votes. And I reserve all rights in the pending litigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak? Seeing none, Councilor Sheridan, your hand has been raised.
Yes, I have some questions. First of all, I have the same questions. Why are we taking up the ratification of this in a special meeting? Kind of looks to me like we're trying to do something to fix some problem, and we're kind of doing it on the sly. We know that most people don't come to these special meetings, so it's a great opportunity to kind of, in my opinion, kind of slip something by. I want to know, who is the one that put this on the agenda? Who's behind this? I mean, is it Whitenberg? Is it the lawyer? Is it the head of planning? Is it the city manager? Is it some counselors? What, this was put on very quickly. We only had the contract put up today. Like, we have time to read it and think about it. It's all done very hurriedly. This is what I've complained about on this council in the past. This bit about how we always want to do things on the sly. We want to go into executive sessions. We want to hide stuff. Although a number of you have spoken in the past to the bridge about how, yeah, we don't want to do this. Yeah, we were kind of wrong, but we're still doing it. I don't know why we're not doing this ratification in a regular city council meeting. It does look like exactly what Steve said. We're trying to avert something about the hearing on Friday. I agree with what Peter Kelman says, that to me, this just looks like more of the same. And I would like some answers on who were the people that pushed this to be on the agenda today. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Councilor Sheridan. I think those are valid questions. Would anyone in the room like to address Councilor Sheridan's questions? Kelly Curry.
Oh, do I? Okay. This is my first time meeting with you all in this room, and you all raised very valid concerns. I would like to clearly kind of break out what the tasks before you here at this special meeting today. One is this contract is the subject of a lawsuit that the city is a party to. That lawsuit has a hearing scheduled for this Friday. And so I thought it was critical that you receive some advice from your attorney on that lawsuit. Prior to that hearing where your staff will attend representing the city. And so that direction is important to get from you all and is customary to receive direction from council or any legislative body on legal matters. Because the contract is the subject of that lawsuit and the open meetings that were held to discuss that contract, I thought it was important for you all to remember the history of how you reviewed the contract in the past. You have the opportunity to ask questions about the contract, either in executive session when you're receiving advice about it, or when we come out and discuss. The second item for action for you is to consider if you wish to ratify that contract today. Your decision about whether to ratify the contract today will come after you have heard from your legal counsel. You do not have to do that. You can choose to forward it to a different meeting. You can choose to not ratify it at all. And those, guidance on that will be given to you by counsel as well. So I'd like to make it clear that there are sort of two elements related to this noticed item today for your consideration. Additionally, we have confirmed that all of the public noticing requirements for this special meeting have been met. It was noticed properly according to state law. There was some concern about whether we took the additional steps to properly notice the special meeting to a local newspaper, and we confirmed that the editor of the Bridge had received our notice of this special meeting in advance per requirements of state law. So I wanted to be clear about what your opportunities are to understand more and what your decision on this can or may or may not be today.
So if I can summarize just for my own edification, we need to hold this executive session because we need to discuss matters that are currently part of ongoing litigation. The ratification of the contract can be done today, but need not be done today if we so choose. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilor Sheridan, you're muted.
Just want to respond. First of all, Kelly, you didn't answer my question. You didn't tell me who was behind putting this on this. I also, came to see you on Monday because I thought we had a meeting at 11 o'clock and you were in another meeting. You did not give me notice about that. So you wasted my time. And so I'm at a point now where I don't even want to come and meet you because it's just going to be a waste of my time, I think. So I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about this. I still think we're trying to hide something. I mean, if we don't want to hide anything, let's do everything in open session. But I'm just not happy about this at all. And that's just the way I am. Sorry.
Councilor Sheridan, thank you for sharing that. Councilor Brown, will come to you in just one second. I would like to say that giving both Manager Curry and myself time to acquaint ourselves with this specific thing in this process will require, if we can, to get a little bit of grace and patience from everyone else as we go through this process, and we appreciate that very much. If there are things that should be discussed in the open, then please bring that forward, and we should consider doing that. Councilor Brown. cannot hear you. While Councilor Brown works out her audio, I'll just give us a heads up as to where we are headed in the next item on the agenda. If we're to enter into executive session, it needs to be done in two parts. The first part, we would need to entertain a motion to find that the premature general public knowledge of something will clearly place the city at a substantial disadvantage by disclosing something. Once we do or don't agree on that, we could move to the second part, which is to entertain a motion that we enter into executive session to discuss the item at hand under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes. So, Councilor Brown, were you able to work out your audio issues?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yes, there you are.
Okay,
please go ahead with
great.
your comments or questions. Thanks.
Great, thank you. I'm trying to wrap my head around what we're trying to do here as well, and I appreciate the clarifying conversation. I think that we had received some information from our attorney, and that I think it would be very valuable for us to have an opportunity to hear that directly. I'm assuming that's who iPhone is and that he's here. Is that correct? Does anybody know? Is our attorney here in the meeting?
Carrie, I don't think you can see me, but I'm just maybe now.
Oh, there you are. Okay, great. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I decided to walk
Okay,
down
great.
in person since I'm just a block away. And
Okay,
now
perfect.
here, as opposed to over on Berry Street, it's just as simple to walk down here. If
Great.
folks would like me to just briefly address this kind of
Well, can I just finish?
Yep.
And then that would be great. So I do think I think it's important for us to go into executive session in order to receive information from our attorney, because that's just a general practice, is that when we're going to have conversations with our attorney, we don't know exactly what's going to be confidential, what's not. And so to be on the safe side, do it in executive session. I don't know if there's any reason why we need to discuss this contract in executive session. Nothing is sort of leaping out to me as needing to discuss the contract itself in executive session, but perhaps we would discover that there was some reason to do that after we get advice from our attorney, because I don't know what he's going to say. So I want us to do everything possible in the open that we possibly can, and to start with, let's just hear what our attorney has to tell us, and then we can go from there.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Brown. I will echo that to the public and to everyone, that if we assume positive intent by everyone here present, then we would also assume that anything that can be done in the light of day and in public should be done in the light of day and in public. And we'll have Councilor Sheridan, Councilor Brown, and myself at a minimum within executive session, trying to make sure that we do what we can in the open, and do what we must in executive session. Does everybody with a general head nod sort of feel like we're on the same page about that? Great. I don't think that's news to anyone, but it seemed worth saying. So if there are no further comments or questions, I would entertain a motion to find that premature general public knowledge of the issue at hand would clearly place the city at substantial disadvantage. Is anyone willing to make a motion of that sort?
I will move to find that premature general public knowledge regarding the issue on the agenda regarding the White and Burke contract ratification would clearly place the city or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage.
Okay.
That's it.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you, Councilor Alfano. Discussion. Councilor Doyle.
Yeah, thank you. I was hoping Carrie, can you just provide clarification, or can we hear that motion back again? Because I just want to make sure I understand what we're going into executive session for. Is it to receive legal advice from our counsel about the pending litigation, or is it to discuss the White and Burke contract?
But that wasn't actually in the motion. The motion was only to find that there would be a
Right.
substantial disadvantage. The next motion will get into why we're going. Yeah.
Okay. So there would be a substantial disadvantage to whom?
Can I chime in briefly?
Yes, please.
Please.
Thank you. Yes. So it's for both things. So the purpose, of course, is to not discuss the substance of the contract. It's to discuss the lawsuit and also to receive confidential advice. And that is the basis as to why premature general public knowledge would disadvantage the city. In order to receive that advice and to get information about the lawsuit, executive session is necessary in order to maintain privilege. And that would be the basis for the finding in the first motion. So you're both correct. And the second motion will clarify that we are going into executive session for those two purposes. But the foundational prejudice is also related to those. So that's the basis with that clarification.
Thank you both.
Okay. So if I may restate what I believe Councilor Brown's motion was, is there's a motion to find a premature general public knowledge of the lawsuit pending against the city would clearly place the city at a substantial disadvantage by disclosing privileged information from council. Did I get that correct?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. We would then entertain a second motion to enter
I abstain.
executive.
You didn't ask for anybody abstain. I abstain.
I stand corrected. Thank you, Councilor Sheridan. Councilor Sheridan abstains. The motion passes nonetheless. We would entertain a second motion to enter into executive session to discuss the pending lawsuit and or the ratification of the contract under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of Vermont statutes. Would anyone care to make a motion?
Unanimous vote, you need to do a roll call.
Mr. Whitaker is correct. Zoom hybrid meetings require a roll call vote.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Whitaker. So we do this by going one at a time. Councilor, I'm going to go in order how you are on my screen. Councilor Sheridan?
No.
Councilor Doyle?
Yes.
Councilor Alfano?
Yes.
Councilor Gill?
Yes.
Councilor Brown?
Yes.
And Councilor Cohn?
Are we doing roll call for the first motion?
Yes, for the first motion.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. By my count, we have 5 yes and 1 no.
Oh, that was the first motion, then mine was an abstain.
Okay.
It wasn't made clear what motion we were doing the roll call for.
I apologize. Thank you, everyone, for your patience on this as I figure out all this language. Councilor Sheridan abstains. We have 1 abstention and 5 yes votes. The motion passes. At this time, we would entertain a second motion to enter into executive session. Would anyone care to make that motion?
I will move to enter executive session to receive confidential attorney-client communications with regard to the pending lawsuit.
Do we have a second?
If I may interrupt.
Yes,
Sal,
Councilor Brown.
Sal, would you like to invite anybody else into that meeting with us, such as our attorney and perhaps the
Oh, yes, I should.
manager?
I should invite our attorney and our city manager. I accept that amendment.
Okay. The motion as made and not yet seconded is that we enter into executive session to accept privileged attorney-client information and invite into that meeting, into that executive session with us, Manager Curry, as well as our attorney. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilor Brown seconds. Is there any discussion? Manager Curry, do you have a comment or question?
I just would like to clarify that you properly cite the 1 VSA 313-1A and 1 VSA 313-1F and E as.
Can you say that again, please?
Yes. You're entering executive session pursuant to 1 Vermont annotated statutes 313(1)A, 1E, and 1F.
Thank you for that. Councilor Alfano, do you accept these amendments to your original motion?
I do.
Okay. Is there any further discussion about this? Then
Just
let
to
me
clarify,
restate.
I
Yep.
think that we should do accepting the amendments to the motion by unanimous consent, because it's our motion now, not just Sal's.
Okay. That's fair. Thank you very much. Is there any objection to this to amending this motion? Seeing no objection, we will amend the motion by unanimous consent. I would like to restate the motion before we take a roll call vote. If there is no further discussion, Councilor Cohn.
Thank you. So I will say yes to motion if we will talk about the contract publicly. So I just want to be sure that we are not saying that we will also discuss the contract in the executive session. Just a note. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Cohn. Unless I'm mistaken, and somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to accept privileged information from our attorney. Some of it may be about the contract, but whether the discussion of whether to ratify it or not need not be privileged and could be done in open. And if so, we will make our best effort to do that. Okay. If there is no other discussion, I'll restate the motion. The motion on the table is to enter into executive session to receive privileged information from our attorney under the provisions of Title I, Section 313, 1A, 1E, and 1F of the Vermont statutes. We will take vote by roll call. Councilor Cohn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilor Doyle?
Yes.
Councilor Alfano?
Yes.
Councilor Gill?
Yes.
Councilor Brown?
Yes.
And Councilor Sheridan?
No.
Okay, we have 5 yeses and 1 no. The motion passes. At this time, we will enter into executive session and we will invite with us our attorney and the city manager.
Okay, great. Do we have a separate link for that for Zoom or do we, okay. So everyone should have in their email a separate executive session, returning to determine whether you will ratify the Whitenberg contract today, discussing other business, and then holding a vote for adjournment. So,
Thank you.
yes, thank you. See you in exec.
right, are we all met? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're waiting on our attorney and manager. All right, looks like they are coming back into the room. I just want to clarify that while we were in executive session, legal counsel did include both our lawyer as well as the legal intern. And we're now back out of executive session and into open meeting. Meeting is being recorded. Would anyone like to make? There we go. Recorded for the record that during session, both legal counsel and legal intern were present, offering privileged counsel to city council. Would anyone on city council like to say anything before we entertain a motion? Okay. Is there a motion before us? Yes, Ben.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sorry, just to
Councilor
be
Doyle.
clear, I'm going to make a motion, at which point, if someone seconds it, there'll be the opportunity for discussion, and then I would like to speak then as to what the motion.
Okay, that's fine. Let's
great.
go ahead and have the motion so we can formally enter discussion.
Great. I move that the City Council ratify and confirm the actions taken by the City Council on October 8th, 2025, authorizing and approving the execution of the city's contract with White and Burke.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilor Alfano. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to
Councilor
just say
Doyle.
something. Yeah, thank you. I'd like to just say something quickly that, the motion that we've just made to ratify the previous action of the council, we recognize that people were not happy with that process and some people aren't happy with the contract. But I also believe that we followed the law. And we've all talked about we need to do better with transparency, and I agree with that. But I do believe that we followed the law when we voted to pass that contract. And to do otherwise, or to say otherwise, I believe puts the city at risk. So I'm following what I believe is sound legal counsel that mitigates risk to the city by ratifying this contract and just affirming that what the previous council did, which is not the same as this council, but the previous council did vote to approve that contract.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from council? Councilor Sheridan.
Yeah, I disagree with what Ben said. I will vote no on this. And I want to let the rest of the council know that I will be attending council meetings on Zoom from now on.
Thank you, Councilor Sheridan. Councilor Gill?
Yeah, I'll just comment. I did vote no previously on this, and I'll continue with that. But I think moving forward, we should look at a solutions-focused, lens. There's a big P and a little p. There's big policy, and then there's practice. So yes, we can absolutely follow the law, but I think in practice, we can do better. I think we could be more transparent. We could share information ahead of time, not be so rushed, like really take the time to get public input. Yes, we can follow the law all we want, and the law is there to protect us. But I think in practice, we have to do better. And that's what I will continue to encourage us to just look at. And I will probably say this multiple times. There's the big P and the little p. Practice really is more sometimes impactful than just following that law to the T. So that is my reasoning, and I'm going to stick with it. And, I hope we can move forward and continue to mitigate these risks to the city in a productive way.
Councilor Gill, thank you very much for that. Are there any other councilors who would like to say anything, or is there any further discussion before we take a vote? I would like to restate two important points that I have heard, and that both of which I fully agree with. One is that it is important for us to uphold the will of previous councils. It is important for us to protect the city when possible. And it is also really important for us to do things properly, transparently, in the light of day, not just to be in accordance with the law, as Councillor Gill has just said, but to also do things in a way that feels fully transparent. It not only is transparent and correct, but also feels really inclusive and transparent. To do things in a non-rushed way with a lot of disclosure. I agree that big P, little p is an excellent way to say that, Councillor Gill. So if there is no further discussion, we'll do this by roll call. I'll go by the order on my screen. How do you vote, Councillor Alfano?
Yes.
How do you vote, Councillor Sheridan?
No.
How do you vote, Councillor Brown?
Yes.
Councillor Doyle?
Yes.
And Councillor Gill?
No.
Okay, and I believe we do need to have 4 votes in order to pass the thing. Councillor Cohn is not here, so I will cast the 4th vote for the reasons that I have stated, to both protect the city and help us prevail in an existing lawsuit, to not set our work backwards, to honor the will of previous councillors. I will vote yes on this, and also make a commitment publicly to everyone that in the future this council will do better in being more transparent, both to the letter of the law and into the spirit of community transparency. Is there any public comment at this time? I would ask anyone who does wish to speak to be brief, but this ratification has passed. Seeing none, I'd like to thank everyone for staying for an extra 20 minutes. I know many of us have things to get to. This meeting will be adjourned. Seeing no objection, thank you everybody for this time and for your thoughtful consideration to this matter. Council is adjourned.